All right, let's go ahead and call to order the regular meeting of the Oakdale City Council for August 22nd, 2023. Sarah, will you take the roll?
Councilmember Herr.
Here.
Councilmember Ingbertson.
Here.
Councilmember Morcomb.
Here.
Councilmember Williambring.
Here.
Mayor Zabel.
Here. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. First up on the agenda tonight is the approval of the agenda. Council members, we have a slightly amended version in front of us that's also been posted on the city website. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
So moved.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second?
Motion and a second. Any comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And we have an agenda. Next up is approval of minutes. First up is meeting minutes from the workshop on August 8th, 2023. Any changes or corrections, council members? I'll look for a motion.
So moved.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And those minutes are approved. Next up, we have regular meeting minutes, also from August 8th, 2023. Any changes or corrections? I'll look for a motion to, motion to approve.
So moved.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Final comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And those minutes are approved as well. Next up, we have a few public hearings in front of us, two tonight. First up is a new on-sale, an on-sale Sunday liquor license request for Muddy Cow Oakdale LLC, doing business as MC's Pub. Who's got the staff presentation? Any of it?
Anyone?
I can do it. What? There isn't a presentation? Okay.
Ad lib it. Go through it quick.
Okay, let me go through it quick. I'm sorry. Okay, so in front of you today, we're going to have a public hearing on the on-sale, off-sale for Muddy Cow, which is a new business in Oakdale, formerly the Titans location in Oakdale. And so what we're asking for is open the public hearing, et cetera, take any comments, and then approve the liquor license, subject to a background investigation, which has not been yet fully complete at this point. Thank you.
And just one correction, it's on sale and on sale Sunday. There's
Yes,
no
sorry.
off sale.
I
So,
stopped saying.
so at this time, we're going to go ahead and open the public hearing. This is an opportunity for anybody in the public who would like to speak on this one specific item to step up and share your thoughts with us. Please state your name and address for the record and proceed with your comments. House rules tends to say, 3 minutes or so. Be kind. So we're going to go ahead and open the public hearing. If anybody would like to talk about this specific item, please step on up. We're going to go ahead and close the public hearing and bring it back for council consideration. Council members, any questions for staff? I'll look for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the issuance of a new on-sale and on-sale Sunday liquor license to MC's Pub upon completion of a background investigation by the Oakdale Police Department that includes no disqualifying factors.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Final comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that liquor license is approved. Next, we have Hudson Boulevard Apartments, PUD amendment, a noise variance, preliminary plat, final plat, and site plan. Staff presentation. Our city planner, Luke McClanahan.
Thank you. Yes, I have a presentation here. I'll get it on the screen. So, yes, JB Vang, the developer, is requesting approval to construct a 130-unit apartment building known as Hudson Boulevard Apartments. The location of the site is on the north side of Hudson Boulevard. It's directly east of Peaceful Living, Peaceful Lodge, and it's also west of United Rentals and Finishing Touch Car Care. The property is 2.3 acres, currently vacant. It's been previously used for storage of outdoor vehicles, equipment. Details on this request: it is for a 4-story apartment, again, apartment building for 130 units. These are market rate units with up to 25% of them for individuals receiving integrated community services, ICS. The ICS program is a separate program that's administered by the state of Minnesota. So to accommodate the number of units, for this request, the applicant is also seeking a PUD amendment to go above the 50 dwelling units per acre limit, which is the standard for the underlying zoning here. It's a PUD, planned unit development. So their request is to allow up to 58 dwelling units per acre. So in addition to the PUD amendment, the developer is requesting a noise variance due to this site being located near I-94, a preliminary plat and a final plat, as well as a site plan. So as mentioned, the property is zoned PUD, planned unit development, for the Greenway station where multifamily use is allowed. A bit of a technicality, a comprehensive plan amendment was approved by the city council back in fall of 2021. However, there's a good amount of staff turnover at that time. It did not get submitted to Met Council for final approval. Staff has submitted that request to Met Council for final approval, so all of this is contingent upon the Met Council approval of the comp plan amendment. So here's a look at the preliminary plat. On the screen, it shows the existing conditions, including an existing access off Hudson Boulevard. You'll see in a few slides, a new access is being proposed on the east side here where they have frontage on Hudson Boulevard. There is an existing chain link fence here. You can kind of see where my cursor is, and there's vegetation to the north of that. So this development would have minimal impacts on that existing vegetation. Here's a look at the final plat. As you can see, there is, well, maybe a little bit difficult to see on the screen here, but there is an existing 30-foot wide easement on the south portion of this property that fronts Hudson Boulevard, and that is for sewer. And because of this easement, it did require that the developer shift the location of the building. And again, you'll see the building here in just a moment, but I want to point out a few things here on the plat. As required by the subdivision regulations, the developer will also have to incorporate drainage and utility easements around the perimeter of the property. So as mentioned, the developer is proposing a new drive along the east side of the property, and there is one condition in the resolution for the plat that the developer sign a declaration in recordable format agreeing to provide an access easement over the new drive to serve as a future shared connection to the 6740 Hudson Boulevard property, which is United Rentals. And also, there is another condition that staff is recommending the developer work with the property owner of 6740 to build the future access stub. And again, this is all forward planning in order to accommodate a shared drive and improve circulation for the site. So here is a look at the site plan. It's a little difficult to see on the screen, so the building footprint is outlined in pink there. There on the east side of the lot is the new drive, and as you can see, the drive extends north. There's surface parking here in the panhandle on the northeast side, a courtyard in the middle of the apartment building, and there is an entrance to the underground parking here where my cursor is. So I think it's worth noting that the applicant has made quite a few adjustments since the concept plan was presented to the city council earlier this year to make the building less imposing on the residential properties to the north there on First Street. They've reoriented the building and also improved just the overall access for large vehicles, fire trucks, garbage trucks, just for ingress, egress purposes. Parking for this development would include 130 spaces, and again, there's 130 units here, so there will be 90 underground spaces as well as 40 surface parking spaces. So in compliance with the Greenway Station PUD, the parking requirements have been met. There will be dedicated bicycle storage located in the underground portion of the parking. And the site will also be within less than 500 feet of the future Greenway Station Gold Line bus rapid transit. And there is a sidewalk system here that also connects this site with the rest of the neighborhood for improved pedestrian circulation. So as mentioned, the developer is requesting a PUD amendment for density, and there's another request for a reduced setback on the north side here. To the first PUD amendment, again, the requirements of the PUD is no more than 50 dwelling units per acre. The developer is requesting 58 dwelling units per acre in order to accommodate their unit mix. In staff's review, we also see that this as being a benefit to its location being in near proximity to the new Gold Line station, where it is preferred that high-density development occur. Staff is supportive of this amendment. So the other amendment about the reduced setbacks to the rear of the property, staff does not recommend this amendment because of the visual impacts of this building that it may have on the neighboring residences to the north. So staff recommends that the setback requirement be upheld, and that can be accommodated in two ways. So that the developer could shorten the depth of this building and meet the setback requirement, or the developer could essentially remove the top two units here on the north side because the setback requirement, I should say, is the height of the building. So it's essentially stepping down the building, again, with the intent to make it less imposing on the neighboring residences to the north. The applicant is requesting a noise variance due to the proximity of the site to I-94, and a noise assessment was submitted with a request revealing that exterior noise will exceed the Minnesota noise standards by 5 decibels during the daytime and 18 decibels during nighttime. So the only allowed method of mitigation per our ordinance is earthen berms. And in this case, it just does not seem practical that you would install an earthen berm here on the north side of 94, and that would really not do anything in terms of noise mitigation because this is a 4-story building. So staff finds that the noise variance is appropriate. There is a condition of approval in the resolution stating that exterior windows and patio doors meet Minnesota noise standards. Here's a look at the landscaping plan for this development. The landscaping requirements have been met, and that includes planting a variety of trees, 67 new trees to be exact, as well as shrubs throughout the property. The applicant will have to revise their photometric plan just to meet the requirements of the ordinance, which is nothing above 0.5-foot candles at any property line. The developer will also have to provide updated plans showing that rooftop and ground mechanical equipment are properly screened from view, according to the ordinance. For stormwater provisions, the developer's plan is to have an underground system under the parking here in the panhandle of the property, and the developer will have to work with the watershed district to ensure that those provisions are in compliance. So here is a look at the elevations of this building. The top is the courtyard view looking at the east side of the building. The middle image, and again, I realize it's difficult to see on the screen there, is the east elevation, and where my cursor is the garage entrance. The bottom image there is the south side of the building fronting Hudson Boulevard with a pedestrian entrance where my cursor is. So as required by the PUD, the primary entrance has to be located on the building facing the public right-of-way. And however, the ground level wall along the south side of the building, it appears to lack design elements to break up its appearance. So another condition of approval is that additional design elements should be incorporated along the ground level wall in a manner that increases the active edge of the site, and that's in accordance with the PUD. Some more elevations here. The top one is a courtyard view looking at the west side of the building. The middle image there is the north side of the building looking into the courtyard where my cursor is. And then the bottom image is the west side of the building. So this slide and the next two are view shed mock-ups. And so in this image, you can see that there is a bit of a grade change from the bottom of the first floor of the apartment building up to the single-family residences to the north. That's roughly a 16, maybe it can get up to 20 feet in grade elevation, or grade change, I should say. So here is an aerial view, and although it's difficult to see the grade change here, the image shows the amount of tree coverage between the apartments, or the apartment building and the existing residences to the north. And finally, this image shows the building from a perspective on one of the residential lots to the north. So this shows on-leaf conditions, and it does appear to have a minimal a view of the building. Of course, during wintertime, when there are no leaves, there would be less vegetation, easier to see the building. So in closing here, the Planning Commission, they reviewed this request back on August 3rd. I should note that they did not review the noise variance because that goes directly to the City Council. And the Planning Commission recommended approval. Staff recommends approval for this development, subject to the conditions in the ordinance and resolutions. And I will summarize those. I'll try to be brief, but bear with me. So, first one is the ordinance that's in the agenda packet. And that is for the amendment to the planned unit development, allowing up to 58 dwelling units per acre. The next is the resolution for the noise, variance from highway noise levels. And one condition there is that exterior windows and doors must meet Minnesota noise standards. Moving on to the resolution for the preliminary and final plat for Hudson Boulevard Apartments. First condition is approval by the Met Council of a comp plan amendment for the Greenway station. Second is an approval and amendment to the Greenway station planned unit development to allow additional density. And one point of clarification, I believe that the packet or the resolution has been updated, so I would disregard those last three words and reduce setbacks, because again, staff is recommending that the setback requirement be upheld. Number 3, execution of a development agreement. Number 4, approval of the civil site plans by the city engineer. Number 5, approval and permits and approvals obtained from outside regulatory agencies. Number 6, satisfaction of park dedication requirements. Number 7, revisions to the final plat in accordance with the city attorney's plat opinion, and following the city attorney's guidance for recording the document with the county. Number 8, incorporation of a 10-foot wide drainage and utility easement on the final plat. Number 9 is that the developer sign a declaration in recordable format agreeing to provide an access easement to Hudson Boulevard North from the property located at 6740 Hudson Boulevard North when that property redevelops. And again, that's the United Rentals property. And the last one here is that the developer work with the property owner of 6740 Hudson Boulevard to establish the shared access and build the connection stub. And then I believe this is the last resolution with conditions, and this is the resolution for the site plan. And I believe that all of those conditions, I'll point out the ones that differ from the previous resolution. Approval must be obtained from the fire department for the proposed hydrant locations and fire department connections. The developer revised the photometric plan to comply with site lighting requirements. Number 9, there is additional design elements being incorporated along the ground level wall fronting Hudson Boulevard North. Number 10, the developer provide an updated site plan showing the proposed rooftop and ground mechanical equipment and screening. Number 11, exterior windows and doors must meet Minnesota noise standards. And finally, number 12, there is setback requirements of the Greenway Station PUD must be met. And this is a public hearing. I know the developer and the development team is here in attendance. I'd be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Anything else? Nice job, Luke. That is a lot of ground to cover. Council members, any questions for Luke right off the bat before we open up the public hearing? All right. We're going to go ahead and open up the public hearing. Again, this is an opportunity for anybody in the audience to share anything on their minds. The public hearing, I guess I'm looking at Rachel, our attorney, can be on any aspects of this project, correct? Not just a specific resolution. So please feel free to step on up and share anything on your mind. Again, just a reminder, the council-approved process for open forum and public hearings is 3 minutes plus or minus around there per comment. So anybody that would like to step up and share anything on your mind, please feel free to do so. State your name and address for the record and proceed with your comments.
Mr. Mayor, council members, my name is Justin Fincher. I'm with JB Vang, the developer for the project. I just wanted to say thanks again to Luke and city staff. We think we've have a stronger project after working with staff for the past several months, and excited about the opportunity. We think this is a good fit for the neighborhood, and couldn't be more excited to get a shovel in the ground. Starting early next year would be the plan. After reviewing the Planning Commission meeting minutes with our team, we just want to ask tonight to respectfully remove the requirement for the shared access easement on our property to benefit the adjacent property owner. We're all for being good neighbors, but just ask that we work through those details at a later time when that development would be put in place. So that's just our one request for tonight. So,
Thank you. Is there anybody else in the audience that would like to speak on this project? I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing and bring it back up to the city council for consideration. Council members, we have 4 action items in front of us. Let's take one at a time. Each will have an opportunity for comment or questions after we get through the motions. Sound like a plan? Let's tackle the first one, the PUD amendment. Can I have a motion?
Make a motion to waive reading and adopt ordinance number 884, approving an amendment to the Greenway Station Plan Unit Development to increase the allowed density for multifamily development.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the PUD amendment is granted. Next up, the noise variance. Can I have a motion?
I would like to move to waive reading and adopt Resolution 2023-80, approving the variance for highway noise levels at Hudson Boulevard Apartments.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the noise variance is granted. Next up is approving the preliminary plat and final plat. Can I have a motion?
Mayor, if I could, is this the one with the condition on the easement, the shared driveway easement?
Yes, that's correct.
To his point, why would we require them to have that if it's 100% on their own property?
Sure. And I might have to pull in Andy or the city engineer here. We're thinking in the future, how do we consolidate the accesses and minimize the number of accesses just from, there's always value in minimizing those number of accesses along a busy road like Hudson Boulevard. This is the time to do so. I should point out that the proposed access would be approximately 40 feet, maybe a little bit less than 40 feet from United Rentals' existing access. So that can present some challenges. And this is one method of trying to address that, is just having a consolidated access.
Okay, I mean, is it a sword that staff would fall on, or I mean, is it?
I would say yes, or staff feels very strongly about requiring the shared access.
Okay, because to their point, and first of all, I mean, I thought all these conditions were agreed upon and discussed between the applicant and staff beforehand. And I know that if I were them, I wouldn't want to grant an easement 100% on my property without compensation from the adjacent property owner. And I would certainly say it would be reasonable for them to ask for that. And with that being said, knowing now that they are opposed to that condition, I would like to amend the motion to not include that condition.
Before we get to that, one comment, and I see our community development director is joining us as well. I do know when we went through the Greenway BRTOD planning process, that was a big area of focus and conversation about limiting as many driveways and access points essentially as possible, because it is going to be a transit route, where the buses there are running in mixed traffic. There's a safety concern, obviously, about, in and out access. And so that was a point of conversation we had 2017 maybe with the consultant that walked us through that process. Personally, I don't think much has changed. Obviously, I think that's still a worthy goal in terms of safety and just, viability along a transit route. But Andy, you joined us, so I assume you have something to say.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. I just want to kind of reiterate some of the points that Luke had made. And this was brought up at the Planning Commission, and one of the follow-up steps that staff did do is we ran the language by the city attorney, Jim Thompson, and he did offer some suggestions to change that language to make that less onerous, whereas we're not requiring them to get approval from the other party for that easement to occur. At a staff level, we feel that this is pretty important to make this development concept work, because essentially otherwise we're creating a problem where we're moving an existing access that has spacing to the other side of the property, directly adjacent to the other property. And then we're going to create an issue when that site redevelops. So it's really trying to be proactive about, as we build out the Greenway station, making sure that other parcel has the ability to build out as well. So that's why staff supports the continued inclusion of that condition.
Councilmember Ingebrigtsen, for clarity's sake, could we do the motion in the second as written, and then you can offer the amendment to strip it out, and then that'll get a vote, and then...
I'd be open to that, absolutely.
Okay, I think that would be the cleanest way.
Yeah, and I just kind of want to just maybe speak a little more to it just briefly.
Do you want to do that when we get to your...
Sure,
amendment?
oh, yeah, that's fine, that's fine.
Can I ask Luke one more question? Please. Luke, could you reread that condition?
Yes.
Thanks.
The developer shall sign a declaration in recordable format agreeing to provide an access easement to Hudson Boulevard North from the property located at 6740 Hudson Boulevard North when that property redevelops.
So council members, let's, for clarity's sake, let's go ahead and get this motion in a second, and then if we want to make changes, we can work off of this as a baseline. Does that work? Okay, can I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to waive reading and adopt Resolution 2023-81, approving the preliminary plat and final plat for Hudson Boulevard Apartments with conditions included in the attached resolution.
There's a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Second. Motion and a second, okay, conversation. So this will be a spot for you to...
Okay.
I guess it's an amendment to remove that condition.
Yeah, and staff has been heard. I understand your viewpoint, but as a policymaker, I also have to look at what's fair to the applicant. And I don't think giving up property rights without compensation is fair. And I would, and I think, reading between the lines a little bit based on his comments, they're going to be open to a shared access. But if I were them, I would certainly expect to be compensated something for that. So, we're not talking about a $10,000 project here. We're talking about a multi-million-dollar project. And frankly, if I were the applicant, I would be taking exactly the same position. So, with that, I'll open it up to other comments. Otherwise, I'll make a motion.
My comment would be, I'm going to advocate for keeping that easement or condition in there, solely because I think one of the challenges is without existing access to those parcels to the east, there's no guarantee that access could be added or will be added. So I think it makes redevelopment a lot harder for those parcels if there's not at least some backstop guarantee that an access easement is available. So in a way, I feel like it would make the likelihood of redevelopment a lot more challenging and unnecessarily challenging. So I I respect your right to offer an amendment, but I would be voting against it.
Well, how about this? We keep the amendment, but add language that, that they would receive fair market compensation.
I don't even think that's possible because it's an easement. I mean, access to an easement is just, an easement is essentially a city-backed right to utilize that space, correct?
Because easements can be private too. An easement can be for a property owner, and then only an adjacent property owner could also have access. It's not necessarily just a public. Easements can be private as well.
I don't think in this case it is though, correct? Because it's access through a city-owned right-of-way.
I'm going to defer to our city attorney.
No pressure, Rachel.
Well,
Welcome.
I think it is, I think it would be a private easement simply because it would be access that would be allowed to the adjacent property owner and the people visiting the adjacent property owner. Now, there's an assumption kind of built in that that would be largely the public, but I think it may not have to be the public. But my larger concern with your suggestion, since you let me talk, is that requiring compensation would place the city in a place of who picks what just compensation is, and how would that be negotiated at some point in the future? That would be a very difficult term to have recorded on a property.
Well, Mayor, and one comment I might make too, the developer said they're willing to work with United Rentals or whoever has that property when the time comes for redevelopment. Is there a possibility to put a requirement on this, that at the time of redevelopment of that parcel, they would be required to look at it at that point?
I think that's what it is, like when that parcel comes up for
Yeah.
development.
Right.
That's the current proposed condition.
So that's the condition. Okay, so it's not necessarily immediately upon building of the property, it's upon redevelopment of the adjacent lot.
It would be contingent on that lot.
Okay.
Redeveloping, yeah.
Yeah, and which brings up kind of my other point, is that I think we're trying to solve a problem that doesn't even exist yet.
I would argue it's preserving a solution to a problem that could exist in the future, if necessary.
Yeah, and I think that solution will exist just by the very existence of the roadway, with or without an easement. And I think anybody who's already got an access in place, if somebody is willing to compensate them for that, of course, that, or compensate them fairly, I know I would say, oh, absolutely. And then you're also, and I think we're also opening up a little bit of a can of worms here. If we're gonna force an easement on them, who's gonna maintain it? Does United Properties have to kick in money when that road needs to be resurfaced, even if it hasn't been redeveloped? I mean, there's more questions than answers here.
So let's be careful about terms like road, like,
Well, but,
I mean,
but
this isn't a street.
no, understood. But the point remains that, we're creating a lot of problems here.
You want to go to a vote?
Unless someone has something else to say.
Well, we'll make your motion to amend.
Okay.
And then there'll be time for final comments after that.
Okay, I will make a motion to amend Resolution 2023-81 to exclude the condition requiring the entry easement, requiring the United Properties owner upon redevelopment use in the future.
Is everybody clear on that motion? Yep. Is there a second? The amendment fails due to a lack of a second. So we're back to the underlying resolution. Council members, any questions or final comments on the resolution 2023-81 as proposed? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? And that resolution is adopted as well. One final one, approving the site plan, that's it, with conditions included in the attached resolution. Can I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to waive reading and adopt Resolution 2023-82, approving the site plan for Hudson Boulevard Apartments with conditions included in the attached resolution.
There's a motion, is there a second?
Second?
Motion and a second, any final comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that resolution is approved as well. Thank you, Luke.
Thank you.
Thanks, Luke.
Next up on the agenda is the open forum section. Before we get to public comments, we have a few council presentations, and then we will open the floor up to anybody that wants to talk about anything on their mind. First up is recognizing our 2023 Acorn Award winners. Each year, the city accepts nominations to recognize properties in Oakdale that are well-maintained and nicely landscaped. Before I announce this year's winners, I'd like to thank everybody who took time to submit a nomination. Also, a big thank you to the Acorn Award scoring committee for visiting each property and selecting the winners in each category. The city council was able to visit the winning properties 2 weeks ago on August 8th, and wow, I mean, they are beautiful. Thank you to our 3 winners for allowing us to visit and showcase your beautiful properties. I'm going to read through all of the winners, and then we're going to meet with the winner of each category in front for a photo, because that's what my script says. So we'll read all of the winners, and then we'll call each group up one by one, and then grab a photo with the city council. Our first category is business commercial, and the winning property is Patio Town. Patio Town is located at 6300 Highway 36 Boulevard North, and they offer a pleasing mix of landscaping and hardscaping with a number of flower beds, statues, water features throughout the property. Patio Town's unique displays are a highlight of the community. The second category, oh, we got pictures.
Yeah, we do. Can you pause?
I'll
for
pause.
1 second?
Thank you.
I'm just ahead of the game. Good? All right. Second category is the public category, and the winning property in 2023 is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, St. Paul, Minnesota Temple. The grounds of the St. Paul, Minnesota Temple, located at 2150 Hadley Avenue North, are always meticulously maintained with colorful displays of flowers and plants. From the moment you enter the property, as you walk around, or in my case, as you walk down the Hadley Boulevard Trail, it is clear that the St. Paul, Minnesota Temple takes great pride in its property. Our third category is residential, and our winners are Jim and Donna Schuba. The Schuba family property is located at 2783 Granada Avenue North and offers a wide variety of bushes, perennials, and annuals. Jim and Donna are very passionate about maintaining their yard and bring a creative and beautiful aspect to their landscaping. So I hope everybody will join me in congratulating our Acorn Award winners and thank them for all of the time, effort, and a lot of money in plants to making their properties very beautiful. So congratulations to you all. Now I'm going to invite the city council to join me down front, and we'll invite up the winners to grab a photo with the city council, if you want. First up will be Patio Town. And Christine?
I'm Christine.
Okay, just a step on the stool. I'm taking pictures. I know, right? I know. I'm too short. All right.
All right, everybody look at Chris.
That's good. Everybody look. Okay, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I'm not great, as good as Lori. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you so much. Next up, we have
Congratulations.
Captain Thibodeau and
Congratulations.
Susan Sheffield from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Perfect. You good? Okay. 1, 2, 3. Second. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
And Jim and Donna Schuba.
In case I fall. Catch me. Okay.
I got you. I got you, boss.
You want me to climb a ladder with high heels? Seriously?
Right on the middle. Yep. Hold that.
Okay.
me. Cute dog. Yes. He's a ham. What's his name? Bo. Yeah, he's a little beagle mix.
Should be a bring your pet to council day.
He doesn't do well with crowds. We're still under open forum, so if there's anybody who would like to share anything on their mind, please feel free to step on up. Same rules as the public hearing. Please state your name and address for the record and share whatever is on your mind. All right, we're going to keep things moving and go on to our consensus motions. Council members, we have 3 in front of us tonight, A through
Mayor,
C.
just 1 second. Did you have a few more proclamations you wanted to read?
I sure did.
Yeah.
It's been a long day. All right, we got 3 proclamations, 3 very important ones, actually. So thank you, Councilmember Morcomb, for reminding me. First up is recognizing Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. And the proclamation reads, whereas suicide is a national public health challenge that causes immeasurable pain among individuals, families, and communities across the country. And whereas with more than 700 lives lost in Minnesota each year, suicide is the 8th leading cause of death in Minnesota and a top leading cause of death among peoples ages 10 to 24. And whereas on average, 132 Americans die by suicide every day and over 1 million attempted suicides each year. And whereas public awareness of this tragic problem is key to preventing further suffering and loss of life. And whereas the risk for suicide can be reduced through awareness, education, and treatment. And whereas everyone in the community can play a role in preventing suicide and are encouraged to know the signs, find the words, and reach out. And whereas depression is a treatable illness, and up to 80% of people who seek help for depression experience improvement when treated with therapy and/or medication. And whereas support is available by calling the National Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, calling or texting 988. That was the last one. Therefore, I, Kevin Zabel, Mayor of Oakdale, Minnesota, hereby proclaim September as Suicide Prevention Awareness Month in the city of Oakdale. Next up, we have a proclamation recognizing our building and code staff. Whereas building and code professionals ensure that all aspects of the building code administration, code enforcement, rental housing licensing, and other duties are performed in a timely and professional manner. And whereas building and code professionals devote countless hours keeping up with regulation changes that affect the building and code enforcement industries. And whereas building and code professionals are primarily out in the field where they can encounter rough terrain, heights, depths, narrow spaces, construction equipment and activities, unfavorable weather conditions, irate persons, canines, and other potential hazards. And whereas despite hazards, building and code professionals are fully dedicated to ensuring that buildings are built safe, strong, and secure, and remain safe, strong, and secure. And whereas the city of Oakdale strongly supports the skilled work of its building and code professionals. Therefore, I, Kevin Zabel, Mayor of Oakdale, Minnesota, do hereby proclaim September 1st as Building and Code Professionals Appreciation Day in the city of Oakdale. And for those that are, around City Hall, they know just how busy our building professionals, our code enforcement officials are, with all of the development going on in our community. So our deep appreciation to, Greg and Ken and everybody that works in those departments. They have their hands full, that's for sure. Finally, one last proclamation, recognizing Patriot Day. Whereas on September 11th, 2001, Al-Qaeda terrorist hijackers carried out a coordinated attack on the United States, and nearly 3,000 innocent American lives were lost. And whereas the courage, heroism, and resilience of Americans displayed on 9/11 and in its aftermath are perpetual testaments to the spirit of this country. And whereas every year on 9/11, Americans commemorate Patriot Day as a day of remembrance of the 9/11 attacks and stand in solidarity to remember the victims and mourn their stolen hopes and dreams. And whereas September 11th, 2023 marks the 22nd anniversary of this national tragedy. Therefore, I, Kevin Zabel, Mayor of Oakdale, Minnesota, do hereby proclaim September 11th as Patriot Day in the city of Oakdale. Now we'll move on to the consensus motions. 3 in front of us, A through C. Council members, are there any you'd like to pull for individual consideration? I'm going to go ahead and pull item C. So could I get a motion to approve consensus motions A and B as presented?
Make a motion to approve consensus motions A and B as presented.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Final comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And oppose, and those motions are approved. Consensus motion C is approving a labor agreement between the City of Oakdale and the Minnesota Teamsters Public and Law Enforcement Employee Union. I just want to take this opportunity. Oakdale is very fortunate. We have incredibly healthy, professional, and strong relationships with all of our employee unions. And a lot of that credit goes to our city administrators, past and present, who go above and beyond to maintain strong lines of communication with our unions and our staff. I want to extend a very big thank you to our city administrator, Chris Volkers, for this. I believe it's the final agreement. It has been a long road to
For
get
now.
all of these processed, but for now, we're going to take the win. A big thank you to you, Chris, and to those on the other side of the table. I mean, this is a true team effort, and the agreement we have in front of us is a compromise, and all of us should be incredibly proud of the work that's been done to get us here. So I'm going to make a motion to approve consensus motion C as presented with a tremendous thank you to all involved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Final comments. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? And that agreement is approved. Next up is time to check in with our advisory boards and commissions. Parks and Rec. You were the only one that met. So we'll check down with Councilmember Morcomb to see what that group is up to.
Yep, the commission met and they actually had a workshop session first to work on yearly strategic planning going into next year. And during the meeting itself, they discussed some park tours that are going on. They toured 4 parks this past weekend, Gulfview being one of them, and were able to get some good resident feedback. And they're going to be going back in September to view 4 more parks. So the goal being to get as much resident feedback as possible, to take a look at the current condition of the parks, and to help be a good advisory body to the council so we can make sound decisions on where to invest in our parks in the future.
A lot of work.
It's a lot of work. It's good. So if you, to follow up, if anyone sees people walking around parks looking at the equipment, it's very likely our Parks Rec Commission. So please do come and give your feedback and share your thoughts so that can be considered.
And I believe they have their next tour mid-September right now.
It's mid-September. I'd have to verify for sure. The 16th? Perfect. Yeah, September 16th, Saturday from 8:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m.
At various parks around the city.
Yeah,
So
there's a
keep
number
an
of
eye out
parks.
for people kind of lurking around, looking at equipment. Yeah. I shouldn't say lurking. That sounds creepy. No other commissions met since our last meeting, so we'll keep going. No award of bid tonight. One staff report, community development, a conditional use permit. Welcome back, Luke.
Yeah, I promise this is the last item I have this evening. So yes, this is a conditional use permit for the property address 7065 43rd Street North. And this request is to allow for an additional accessory structure, which is a storage shed. It's 96 square feet in size. The shed is already existing on the property, so staff has been working with the property owner to essentially bring this property into compliance with zoning requirements. So per the zoning code, in addition to having one garage and one accessory structure like a shed, a property owner can have an additional accessory structure if they receive an approved conditional use permit for the use. So staff finds that the request meets the CUP review criteria of the ordinance, and that's detailed in the staff report in the packet. And staff recommends approval of the request subject to the building meeting setback requirements. The Planning Commission heard this request at their August 3rd meeting. They held a public hearing, and the Planning Commission recommended approval of this request. And I'd be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Council members, any questions for Luke right off the bat? All right, I'll look for a motion.
Make a motion to waive reading and adopt resolution 2023-79, approving a conditional use permit for an additional accessory structure at 7065 43rd Street North with conditions included in the attached resolution.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second?
Motion and a second. Final comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that CUP is approved. Let's check in with our visiting city attorney tonight. Rachel, nice to see you. Welcome.
Thank you. I do not have anything to report.
All right. Anybody, any questions for Rachel? All right. Let's turn the other way. Check in with our city administrator, Ms. Volkers.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, City Council. If you'll indulge me for 1 second. Tonight is the last night for our finance director, Jason Zimmerman, as far as a council meeting, his last council meeting. And I just want to take a sec, and I'm not going to embarrass him. He wouldn't like that one bit, but
Fine, I'll do it.
but I just want to acknowledge, the great work Jason's done as finance director. He came to us from a different city 2 years ago in June, and he is leaving us for a different city, a bigger city, and one towards in his community where he lives. He's done absolutely excellent work here for the city, and I think everybody would agree. He's had a lot of significant accomplishments that he has led and really been instrumental. He's created a whole finance department, essentially. We've merged kind of an administrative area into a finance department. He has built that staff. He has hired the staff, and they are a great team. So much so that when he does leave, I'm confident that we will continue. So that's a good thing. He has set policies and processes in place to keep the finance department in line and in proper decision-making abilities and processes that make sure that we are compliant with the audit and the bond rules and everything and investments, and he's just done all of that. He really has done a lot of that work to bring that to fruition. In addition, he's brought technology to the department, which helps really the staff do their work and the residents of the city to have that technology when they're paying their utility bills or anything else. So that's one person who has really led that effort, and Jason's been a great partner in that regard. So we're really grateful to him and all his work for the city. I think that includes all of us, our team, our management team, the employees in finance, city employees, the council, and the residents. I think we owe Jason a big thank you for all the work, and we wish you very well into your next move. So thank you.
I mean, we wish you were staying, but, if you want to leave, we wish you well. I would just add to that, local government has dealt with a lot in the last few years, whether it's, record inflation, changes in personnel, COVID-19, influx of federal money, and Jason has been a very steady hand throughout all of it. He's also responded in extraordinary ways to priorities of this council and even the previous council for increased transparency and accountability in our city's finances. And it has made a lasting impact on the trust between our residents in this city and sets us up for a lot of trust going forward. So Jason, on behalf of this council, we thank you. We're going to declare war on the city of Blaine for stealing you, but we know they are going to be thrilled to have you just like we have been, so thank you. Chris, anything else?
No, that's it. Thank
Way
you.
to bring down the mood.
Yeah, I know,
Jeez.
sorry. It's supposed to be a celebration.
I know, but we still have a little more time with him. So, council presentations. Council members, what do we got? Anybody want to go first?
Nothing from me.
No, anything?
I hear on the city website that tomorrow's events are canceled as a result of the hot heat. So
Way to step on my printed announcements from
sorry.
staff.
Coordinate before.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I have nothing. to
sorry. Besides that, nothing. I have nothing.
Jake, anything?
Yeah, I just actually was gonna say the same thing about Andy because I wasn't sure this was his last meeting, but I thought it was.
Jason, you mean?
Or Jason, yeah. What did I say?
You looked at Andy.
But Jason, thanks for everything. I've actually learned a lot from you, so I wish you well.
Anything else?
Nope.
Okay. Just a few announcements from me. As Councilmember Herr teased, the city is canceling our Oakdale Farmers Market and Summer Concert Series tomorrow due to the anticipated heat. We want everybody to be safe, so please take care of yourselves. Please take care of others. Those events will be back hopefully the week after that. I do know there was one question online about could we move the farmers market to the Discovery Center? I think it's just a logistics issue this late in the game. Thankfully, I do know most of those vendors have numerous events throughout the week, so they're probably not going to be facing any wasted produce or products. So if we could accommodate it, we would, but unfortunately, it's just a last second thing that we're trying to respond to. Also, for those in need of escaping the excessive heat tomorrow, Washington County libraries and service centers are available during business hours. Unfortunately, these facilities are not able to accept pets and will only be available during business hours, but they are there if you need them. In addition to that, I think City Hall and Discovery Center are on that list as well. So if anybody needs to escape the heat, please come to a city building during business hours. We'd love to have you. Don't get a lot of visitors here, so that'd be nice. Yeah. More information about the county sites on their website. Otherwise, you can find the hours of city buildings on our website, oakdalelemon.gov. Earlier today, the City Council attended a ribbon cutting and a grand opening at the Springs at Willowbrook, a new apartment complex offering townhome-style living over in the Willowbrook neighborhood. Pretty amazing. Gated entrance, pool, pet playground, more. Really, really snazzy units. So hard to believe it is 280 units. That is a lot of people there. I think it was actually the first segment of the Willowbrook development that was completed. And actually, I think they've been open almost a year now. So yeah, it's hard to believe, but a really cool place. We encourage residents to go check it out, drive by, maybe meet a new neighbor there. So stop on in. You may have seen this update on social media, the city, or gotten a letter in the mail even. The city will upgrade to a new utility billing software and payment system 1 week from today on Tuesday, August 29th. A letter was sent out to utility billing customers detailing the changes and benefits that include multiple safe and secure payment options and an optimized online system for advanced functionality. That's a lot of big words. Currently, customers set up for auto pay through the existing online payment system will need to re-enroll once the new platform launches. Customers will not be able to make any utility payments on Monday, the 28th, while staff are working on that transition to the new system. So please be aware of that. Links to the new online payment solution, as well as the phone number for phone payments, or the phone payment line, will be available on the city's website, oakdalelemon.gov. As always, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to city staff. They are always here to help. Finally, our Oakdale Summer Photo Contest is open for 9 more days. Snap some beautiful summer pics around town and submit them by August 31st. Only Oakdale residents are eligible to participate, and photos must be taken in Oakdale. The full contest rules and how to submit photos is on the city website as well, oakdalemn.gov. We have gotten some pretty awesome ones every season that we do this, so we love seeing what residents are seeing around town and sending that in. Time to pay the bills. Council members, in front of us, we have the claims roster August 9th through August 22nd in the amount of $1.7 million and change. Council members, were there any questions about the claims roster? I'll look for a motion.
I would like to move to approve claims for the period August 9th through 2023 to August 22nd, 2023 in the amount of $1,785,633.77.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? The bills are paid. We're going to adjourn to a meeting of the Economic Development Authorities. Do we take a motion to adjourn, or do we just kind of slide right into that?
If you are finishing your council meeting, you would adjourn.
All right, let's get a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? We are adjourned, and now we're going to move into our Economic Development Authority meeting. Okay, we're gonna, that's this one. All right, we're gonna go ahead and call to order a regular meeting of the Oakdale Economic Development Authority on August 22nd, 2023. Sarah, will you do the roll?
Commissioner Herr,
Here?
Commissioner Ingbertson,
Here.
Commissioner Morcomb,
Here.
Commissioner Willenbring,
Here.
President Zabel.
Here. In front of us, we have our agenda. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Final comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? And the agenda is adopted. Next up, we have approval of the minutes dated November 22nd, 2022. Commissioners, any questions on that? Okay, I'll look for a motion.
So moved.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
The suspense. Final comments? All those in favor?
Just 1 minute. I was not at that meeting, right? So I may abstain from this
Yeah,
vote.
traditionally, if you weren't on the body or not at that meeting, you do abstain. We have enough votes that we can keep it moving.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would like to abstain as well.
All right. Councilmembers, or Commissioners Morcomb and Herb will abstain. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and those minutes are approved.
It's a close one. It's a close vote.
I know, right? Business in front of us. First up, this is actually the first meeting of the year, so we have to elect our officers. Under the EDA bylaws, the mayor for the city of Oakdale automatically serves as president, but we do need a vice president, treasurer, and secretary. Since Jake's acting mayor, I'm going to make him be vice president if my colleagues will agree to that. Is that okay?
No problem.
Sure, so I would like to motion to nominate Commissioner Jake Engelbretson for the position of Vice President.
I think we'll just fill in the names and then we'll vote once as a
Oh, is that
slate.
right? Okay.
We'll keep it easy. Yeah.
Yeah, and these are largely symbolic.
They
not
are.
Completely, but largely, so.
I mean, since it's August and we're meeting for the first time as an EDA.
Yeah, and I, since I've been on the council, there hasn't been a,
No.
You know.
It's more of a formality.
Yep.
S-O-N. Who wants to be treasurer? Raise your hand.
I'll be secretary.
Andy will be secretary.
Boom, boom.
No will be treasurer.
All right.
Susie will be commissioner.
Okay. I'm going to make a motion to approve the slate of Oakdale EDA officers, Kevin Zabel as president, Jake Ingebrigtsen as vice president, Noah Herr as treasurer, and Andy Morcomb as secretary. Can I have a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Final comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? You don't get any more money for those jobs, so. The officers are elected. Next, we have one business item tonight, approval of an exclusive rights agreement for the parcel on Tanners Lake. Mr. Getzloff,
Yes.
you gonna walk us through this?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President and commissioners. Nice to be before you this evening. Just a quick background on this item here. After an extensive effort to market the EDA-owned property developer, staff sent a request to proposals to 6 development teams who expressed interest earlier in the year. We received 3 proposals, 1 later withdrew. We'd completed a more thorough evaluation of the 2 proposals based on criteria established by council, which included financial capacity of developer, projects of similar scope and scale, level of financial assistance requested, and ability to maximize public benefit, ability to maximize a site's potential for intensity, mix of uses, and inclusion of public amenities, and timeline for completion. Staff found that both proposals were very well done, but recommended developer B, which is now under the name of Tanners Lake LLC, but the group that's behind that is McLinn Partners and Jim Boo Realty as the 2 main partners within that LLC. In addition to meeting the criteria, the proposal also provides a balanced mix of low-density townhomes, higher-density apartments, commercial, central dock gathering space. Concept of that is included in the packet, but will likely evolve and change as the process goes forward. Developer has identified primary financier. Developer is in process of negotiating a letter of intent with the private parcels. Site plan and architecture has been advanced. There is some prior working relationship with 3M that could result in some corporate rental type units, and they're asked for tax increment financing assistance was less than the other proposal. So at June 27th, we had a workshop with council to talk about moving forward with an exclusive rights agreement with developer B, Tanners Lake LLC. Council did give staff direction to come back with that formal agreement, and we worked with the city's attorney's office to prepare that. Just a quick summary of some of the key terms of this agreement. It is effective upon, we're going to have it effective upon a purchase agreement for the privately owned parcel. So even though council will authorize it, or the EDA will authorize it, signature tonight, we'll wait for some satisfactory proof before that agreement officially kicks into place. And then once that kicks into place, it's 120 days. And then there's an additional ability to extend for 60 days or even more thereafter with the approval of the EDA executive director. During the term of the exclusive rights agreement, ERA, the EDA will agrees not to negotiate a similar agreement or any other agreements with any party other than the developer related to this property. We also give the developer and his contractors a right of access to the site upon reasonable notice. And then, big one here, the developer is solely responsible for any costs incurred by the developer, and the developer agrees to reimburse the EDA for any costs we have that are really out-of-pocket expenses for financial or economic development consultant. We do have termination clauses in here if there is a default that we can terminate this agreement with 10 days written notice. And our attorney's office has put in the our requisite indemnification language for both the city and the EDA. And the reason this agreement's with the EDA is is the property owner. Last point to make here is that the ERA is really the first step in the redevelopment process. It gives the developer time to complete their due diligence, to make sure the project's financially feasible. It also gives the city time to vet the level of assistance that be provided, but also negotiate what that purchase price is for the city-owned property, as well as what the payback may be through the TIF moving forward. And and from here on out, we'll be working with Baker Tilly to run an independent financial analysis, and there'll be further discussions with the EDA as the project moves forward. With that's my summary of the current status, and the request here is EDA authorize the EDA president and executive director, who is your city administrator, to sign the exclusive rights agreement for the Tanners Lake LLC on behalf of the EDA.
Commissioners, any questions for Andy? I have one. So how does the right to access the site included in this agreement work with the current EDA agreement with Ames Construction occupying the site?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. The agreement we have with Ames is we have a right to access. I'm not sure if I think it's 24 hours notice or 3 days. So basically, if they need to get access to the site, Tanners Lake LLC would contact us. I would be the contact. I would contact Ames to get site access. Okay. And for the most part, they've been very good to date about allowing access, but things like soil borings may require them to move equipment and things on site, so maybe a little more invasive than what we've done to date.
Okay. Commissioners, any final questions? Otherwise, I'll look for a motion.
Make a motion to authorize the EDA president and executive director to sign the exclusive rights agreement with Tanners Lake LLC on behalf of the EDA.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second?
Motion and a second. Final comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that is approved. Motion to adjourn, please.
So moved.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The Oakdale Economic Development Authority is adjourned. Thank you and good night.